Look, seem like every captain gotta maintain the cap. You can make change, don't change for that. Tell the whole truth, get paid for that. Bet you never fall off, you was made for that. You gotta be who you really be, shine from the inside. Cause niggas ain't really who they say on the outside. You gotta be who you really be, shine from the inside.
Are you actually autistic? I thought we were just making jokes this whole time.
He can draw a mean pony.
Welcome back to where Jeremy makes weird sounds. Will forgot to put quarters in his internet machine, and we're finally going to get to the topic we forgot like 2 weeks ago: the failed education system. What you got, Rodney?
I think you're a product of the failed education system, but
Yeah, it was too expensive for my family, so
that's why you're out here deep throat microphones.
hey, bro, that free public school been whooping our ass, boy.
Ooh-wee.
No, I think I really do think that we have a serious problem, though, when it comes to education here in America and its lack thereof, shall I say. First off, I just want to, say you don't really learn anything in school. And that's how I felt like all going through school. Right. I mean, you might learn 2 + 2 at school. Most of the time you learn that shit at home. Your ABCs, how to count. Mm-hmm. So, like, what are you really learning at school? You're not learning taxes. You're not learning how to balance a checkbook.
And they're not teaching skills. They're teaching tests because of standardization and because no child left behind. Oh, what if they fail? Okay, let's put the bar on the fucking floor.
Is that how you make?
Yeah, but I mean, pretty much.
What the fuck is Will even saying?
He's trying to talk.
Elaborate, Boots. Talk to us.
Hold on, Will. Go ahead.
I was asking Raleigh if that's how he made it through. The bar being...
Oh.
Yes.
Speaking of bar being, the bar is right at about your nose, buddy. You're fucking...
On my screen, so,
bro, we got boomer vision in the corner there.
Jesus, man.
So, elaborate, Boots.
You look like you're FaceTiming your grandma from summer camp.
Maybe I am.
Boots, you brought up No Child Left Behind. Describe this No Child Left Behind.
So, the idea being that they didn't want as many dropouts in schools, and they didn't want people failing as much. So, they created a standardized system of tests that instead of actually teaching people anything useful and letting people's minds, stretch their metaphorical legs a little bit, let's just teach them the test, and the test is stupid easy, and that way everyone gets a high school diploma, which then made it where the high school diplomas aren't worth fucking dick anymore, which meant that the next newest base standard was associates, and after a couple of years of that, bachelors. Where the bachelor's is now kind of the fuck. What, Will? What is your life?
I was trying to fuck with you, and it worked.
No, I was mainly looking at Rodney and Jeremy that whole time. I'm just having like a seizure trying to stab you in my peripherals. Oh, that would have been 2 seizures in my life, both of which you were present for. I think you're causing them. Anyways,
the salad?
Jeremy's face. Jeremy's like, what the fuck?
I'm not big on Caesar's. Not big on Caesar dressing, but
it's kind of gay, bro. I don't know why you would want Caesar's dressing.
Oh, but no, the bar has gotten to where it's entirely too low, and they're just teaching the test at this point instead of actually teaching useful things.
Do you think part of that?
I'm not a huge fan of that.
You think part of that is, because teachers are condemned or they get like audited if they don't, if a certain amount of students don't pass that bar of standardized testing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there were a bunch of really good teachers back when I was going through school that actually like just I wasn't going to retire for a couple more years, but I'm out of this shit because they kept just tightening their requirements and they weren't letting them actually teach the shit that they knew how to do. And it was almost like,
well, it was,
what's up?
well, the purpose of that was twofold. It was one, to standardize the education system in America, because there wasn't what third grade was in fucking Alamogordo, New Mexico, and what fucking third grade was in Augusta, Georgia, are two completely different curriculums. So they did
yes,
that one to. No, it's fine. I'll wait. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know you were still going. Go ahead.
I didn't even take a breath yet. But anyway, it's a two-sided thing. So it was one, to standardize it by setting actual like hard black and white. This is what is to be taught this year. Then it'll stack on this year and stack on this year and stack on this year and so forth. The other shitty side about standardized testing is it was a tool that the state used to gauge funding. So if your kids were I don't know, they couldn't afford it, and they couldn't afford lunch, and they couldn't afford all the extra class fees and shit, and they weren't doing very well, and they did poorly on standardized tests, the school by default would lose out on funding, which is kind of backwards.
So standardization as a concept seems like a good idea, but the problem with that is when you standardize school system across the country, or even just across the state, you end up trying to meet the lowest common denominator. Like, what's the dumbest fucking school in the entire state, and let's get everyone down to their level. So it gets to where it's a bunch of dipshits at the end of the day. Like, if you only learn what the school teaches you, you're not gonna succeed. You're not gonna know much of anything.
I mean,
I can take tests real good.
And then brain dump it.
That statement goes to anything, though, dude. Like, if you're at your job, if you only do the bare minimum requirements every day, well, then you're not gonna do very good at your job. But if you take some extra time and learn a little bit more intricacies of your job, then you're gonna excel.
So while I'm in school, I'm a ninth grader. Instead of just sitting there for 7 hours a day and basically, instead of having them teach me things, which is their full-time job to do, I have to take that, tuck it away, and like, okay, here's how I pass those standardized tests, and then I have to teach myself anything that's actually useful.
Well, they're not your babysitter. That's part of America's that's part of America's problem with their school system is schools are treated as a daycare. Drop off my kid.
Yeah,
that's their problem for this many hours of the day, and I don't have to deal with it.
They've put entirely too much pressure and responsibility on teachers to not just raise your kids, but then they got to go above and beyond on top of all of the other shit that they're responsible for. Would you? No, bro. That's where your parents. That's where your folks come in and teach you.
Would you like your teacher to call you after school and help you out with your assignments and stuff like that? Like, is that what you want? Or do you want to be an adult in the ninth grade, be treated as an adult like you wanted to be in the ninth grade, and have the responsibilities of studying on your own and learning on your own?
Which, by the way, that was a big fucking con.
Hey, guys, I want to be a grown-up.
No, you don't. Shit sucks.
I think another big problem with standardized tests is it forces the culture of, like, if you fail, that's it. At least in my opinion, where if you fail a test, or like in the real world, if you fail at a task, you keep going and keep trying.
Yeah.
But in school,
and like part of my
in school, it's just, you either pass or you fail, and then you're done.
Yeah. And part of my research that I was looking into is like Finland, which is a country that was notoriously bad in education for years, and then in the past has turned around, and I think they're fifth in math and third in reading in the entire world. And what they actually ended up doing is contrary to what Boots had said, is they got rid of standardized testing and they actually did less time in school and more time learning on your own and letting your imagination do the learning for you, vice your teachers just shoving shit down your throat.
I think that also embraces the different learning styles.
Right. Yeah.
Will, relax your eyebrows. Just relax your whole face for a minute.
No, you're absolutely right, because everyone has a different learning style and everyone has a different learning pace. Somebody like me, I'm a quick learner and I'll pick up on it and run with it, but I know not everyone can learn as quick as me, so.
And this weird lecturing culture leads to struggling for those that are behind, or boredom for those that work way ahead.
And that
I got in a fair bit of trouble going through school through the years because I would work ahead. I'd get all kinds of shit done, and then I'd just fall asleep. You can't sleep in class. You got to finish your work. I did, a week ago.
Well, I mean, that's kind of disrespectful.
You want for me?
If your teacher's up there lecturing and talking.
There was one time that it worked in my favor. I was in a math class, and Grand Autismo, I'm kind of good at math. And this particular one was the teacher would hand out a packet that would last the 9 weeks, so half your fucking semester. It's that's all your work for the next 9 weeks. Keep track of it. That's all you have to keep track of. That and a fucking pencil.
Actually, that pencil was hard for you.
And I did it in 3 days. What's that?
That pencil didn't make it out of the goddamn 6th hour, did it?
I didn't need it eventually, but no,
you didn't eat it.
Oh no! But I finished that whole packet in 3 or 4 days, and then I was sitting there in the class just had my hoodie on, and I took me a little nap, and he was like, "You can't sleep in here," and I looked at him and I just handed him the packet and it was done, and everyone else in the class was fucking struggling. So he's like, "Why don't you get up here and help me teach this class then? Because they're all your age and they'll listen to you." Okay, you're a bad teacher for that, but
listen,
whatever,
listen,
cool.
This is
if I do that, you'll let me sleep.
This is a lovely story, but where's it going, buddy?
Oh, just the only time that fucking working ahead ever panned out for me.
Yeah, he turned into Jeremy there. He said, "Yo, Jeremy, give me that story roll. It's my turn."
Woo! And Will over here looked like he about to pose for a fucking this fucking
Bro, my
mugshot.
head hurts after listening to that story.
Your head hurts from banging against the goddamn headboard for more than it has the rest of your life.
So skip to the last 15 seconds of that story.
Oh, that was pretty much it. I did all the work in 3 days.
God, okay.
I taught the class, and that guy wasn't a great teacher.
Okay, so I mean, it's just like PT in the military. They have to attempt to standardize it, but there's always going to be people at the very end of the spectrum and the very top of the spectrum. I know, probably poor choice of words for you.
No, that was a perfect choice of words for me. What are you talking about?
You know what I mean? So they can't tend to the high speed kids, and then literally have these kids that are literally just going from fucking I can barely afford to make it through school to I'm gonna go be a fucking whatever.
I think that's the problem with the standardization though, is what the education needs in the Midwest is going to be different than New York.
Prioritizing test scores over actual knowledge.
I mean,
and those teaching the test will lead you to brain dumping as soon as the test is done.
You have those, small country towns where 3 people are in your graduating class and all 3 of them are the son of the farmer and they're taking over their father's business as soon as they graduate high school. Do you think they need the same education as someone in New York?
No.
As a standard, yes.
I could see standardization
As a
up
minimum,
through middle school.
Yes.
Hear me out here. You put all your core knowledge up through the end of middle school. And high school, you actually tailor to strengths. This guy's really good at math. Let's go to a mathematically focused route there. This guy is going to be a good chemist one day. Let's look at that. This guy, he's kind of dumb, but he's really good with his hands. Let's put him in the shop track.
That doesn't equate to anything, though, dude. Like, I'm good at English. I write the fuck out of an essay and get 100% every time on my rough draft. I don't like English. I don't want to do English as a living. I hate English.
Just because I was good at it when I was 17 doesn't mean I'm
still good at it to this day. Like,
but no, listen. I mean, Boots, you understand that that's kind of how the world is already, right? Except that the minimum isn't 8th grade, like you've suggested, before you venture out and attempt to develop your strengths more. You do that on your own. That's not. I don't feel like that's the public school's responsibility to circle jerk whatever you want to do. You get to do that after you get your diploma and move out.
That 4 years of high school where they're saying you're going to just die and become a criminal if you don't go to college, where they pay college is the end-all be-all.
What I want to talk about.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
The negative connotation on vocational skills. And what do you guys think about that? Do you think that there is a negative connotation and that the schools are kind of pushing away from it, or?
I think in schools, there is a negative connotation. And I think when you're in high school and stuff like that, it's always pushed 4-year college, 4-year college, 4-year college. Once we're all adults, we've been adults for a good minute now, and we all know that trade school is a very, very viable option. And we all know that, trade schools often you make more up front. Absolutely. You go to 2 years of trade school and you come out and you're usually making right around $100,000 a year. Easily.
Yeah.
Depending.
Depending.
Yeah. However, you got 4 additional years of, traditional school. But it's pushed that way because, like Boots had mentioned, the bachelor's degree these days is looked at like a high school diploma. If you don't have a bachelor's degree, you're not getting any kind of management position. You're not getting any kind of promotions. You're the worker. You're the working bee, and that's all you're ever going to be, unless you're in some kind of, smaller company or something like that.
Yeah, definitely in today's day and age. When the recession hit back in 2009, that's all people did was go back to school because you could still afford to stay alive and uphold your household while getting an education. So that's what a ton of people did. That's why there's so much market saturation now with people with useless
underwater
degrees.
basket reading.
And I say useless because they're either in something. Yeah, they're either in something stupid or they're in something of which the person has zero experience
degree in
doing.
gender studies. Why can't I get this job as a consultant at a
Bro, can't relate. I don't know.
Well, it is what it is, and I'm in one of those degree fields where it's not really a specialized degree field. You know what I'm saying? For my bachelor's, I'm political science, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's a
So
that's just getting started for you.
Yeah, if you end there, it's a problem.
Not necessarily. There's actually a lot of really good jobs out there for, political science degrees and stuff like that. Most of them have to.
Is it really?
Yeah, most of them have to do with being like liaisons or consultants for agencies or for businesses, hospitals, and shit like that to like the state, local government, federal government, and stuff like that. And there's also.
I was say you could probably go work for the State Department.
Yeah,
if you wanted to go
State Department.
big.
There's actually right. So there's actually a lot of really good jobs out there for political science, but it's still one of those smaller education fields where it's not every college offers it, but there's not a ton of people doing political science.
That's fair.
But
what about taking away the real world skills from schools?
it's a problem.
No, I'm not sure that they ever had it. Did they? I mean,
Yeah, shop.
They used to have cooking classes.
I still
Classes
think
where they
that's
teach you how to
no,
do
that's
taxes
Well, they
and
had like
shit.
shop class and
They've still got some automotive
yeah,
that's what
and whatnot, but
woodworking and stuff like that.
that's because those classes aren't
Oh
on
yeah,
standardized testing. They're not going to test you on home ec, so they're not going to if they're not going to get paid for that program, but they'll get paid for their math department, and their math is 35% of the standardized test. Then they're going to cut funding to PE so that they can build up the fucking math, English, blah blah blah, social studies department. You know what I'm saying? That's why
yeah, but
it's all about money.
it
It's
is.
all
But
about
at
it's
the end of the
always
day, that
about
whole
money.
the standardized testing, and we all know is bogus, dude. Like, I wasn't the best student in high school. I wasn't not because I'm dumb or not because I didn't know the information. I just didn't apply myself because I was bored. Um, However, when it came to the California high school exit exams, the standardized testing in high school, um, I scored top 5% in all categories and subjects. To the point to where my high school counselor called me in the office and was like, "Yo, what is going on here? You have straight D's and C's, yet you managed to get top 5% and all." You know what I'm saying? It's an anomaly that we're seeing here, because it's not students like you who have these grade point averages that score this high on these standardized tests.
Yeah, pretty. That's what happened to me, man. When we moved from Mountain View out to Coolidge, I had like 43 absences my senior year, but they refused to do anything about it because they knew standardized tests were coming around, and I was gonna bend the curve of their whole fucking school. So they so they were like, "Hey man, just try harder." Bro, me and my cousin, we used to show up in first period, just drop our shit, and be like hit the teacher and be like, "Hey man, you trying to get
Yeah,
the same shit? Yeah, with iced coffee. All right, bet." And we would
that's
just dip out and go to
pro-
McDonald's and come back and bring a breakfast at the
that's
end of
how it
first
was for like
hour
my
and
American
roll,
government
man.
class. Me and my homie Alan, it was our third period that we had together. So we'd roll into American government and be like, "Hey, what do you want from the Jelly Donut?" Which was the donut shop, about a mile up the road. And he'd be like, He's like, "You know what I
yeah,
want? I want
boy.
that jelly donut and a coffee." Got you, boss. We'll be back in a little bit. But he knew we knew the information and we weren't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So he was cool with it. That was,
yeah.
you had other teachers though that, like, we had one teacher that caught us going off campus one day. "Where are you guys going?" "We're going to mind our own damn business. That's where we're going."
You should go every
We're gonna
once
go
in a
get high
while.
off some.
Shut the fuck up,
Gonna go get high off
Reggie.
some jelly donuts. All right, leave us alone.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
Hell, I even had a teacher in AIT do that shit too. Oh, it was somebody go wake T up. Go wake T up. And then they wake you up and it's like, "Hey, answer the question." And then you answer the question because it's the same material we've been going over for 3 days. And it's like, "Oh well, you need to go stand in the back of the
The
room."
fuck I do.
Yeah, well, and I think
Okay. Just gonna you underestimate my ability to sleep standing up.
And I think a lot of that problem too is like, I think teachers need a little bit more training on how to handle.
Not punish
Yeah,
intelligence.
that's what I was going to say. Handle, but not punish. How to handle some of your upper echelon students and how to handle some of your students that are dragging along. Because there's certain ways that you can motivate people. You just got to know them and know what they're into or whatnot, and try to get them.
Well, that's hard because if you give the high speed kids more of a challenge, then they're being ostracized, alienated, and bullied.
Well, we need to bring
Why are
bullying
you
back.
giving my child more work? As a whole, I'm inclined to agree. Maybe not to the extent that it got to, but of the because okay, let's face it. 50% of what you learn in school is social skills, coping mechanisms,
Yeah, but do you learn that in
and
school,
work ethic,
or do you learn that on your own?
right? Boots already. You could argue that with just
I'm
about
just saying,
everything we've said
is that
so
something
far.
that you learn in school? Is that something that is taught by the teachers?
So here's.
No, I didn't say taught by the teachers. I said learned.
I
in
wouldn't
school.
have otherwise been in that environment with
But
all
like
these
Boots
motherfuckers
said-
around me in the same age and the same circumstances, if not for school.
What?
To get those social skills. If I had been homeschooled or something versus going to a public school, I wouldn't have been around all these other people. So I did in fact learn those
I
social
was
skills
homeschooled for
via
a
school.
good bit.
Did you interact with people a lot?
Yeah, it's called going out into public. Bro, you didn't have kids on your neighborhood street that you all freaking played hockey with at the street light, or y'all met up on your bikes and cruised down to the beach, or
Bruh, no, I was in a neighborhood
well, that
full of
sounds
fucking
like a
old
you
people.
problem. All I'm saying is my social skills.
Anyway.
My social skills were learned in my neighborhood.
Like
dude.
Boots said,
They weren't learned in school.
Well, I think it was helped at home, but it definitely had a lot to do with the public school. And for 99% of kids, that's where they learn social skills, any kind of social interaction. So, like what Boots said earlier, well, with standardized testing, all it teaches you to do is learn it and brain dump it. Well, first of all, that's not a useless skill. Okay. and it just teaches you how you learn.
I think he enjoyed that too much.
Get away.
He's got that slurper motion down, don't he?
He did sound too good, didn't it?
Had some residual Mick Ultra.
I don't know, man. Like I said, my experience is different because I didn't hang out with kids from school. I didn't invite kids over from school after school. I hung out with the kids that were on my neighborhood block. Some of them older than me, some of them a little bit younger than me.
I think I honestly
You know what I'm
learned
saying?
majority of my social skills from work. My first job.
From work, and you learn your social skills.
You had no social skills.
No, dude, you learn your social skills at 3 years old, and I'm not trying to discredit what Will had said, but you learn your social skills right around the age of 3 years old. So your social skills are taught to you from your family.
I just mean that, like,
That's why
I didn't
everyone's
really, like, I went from being that quiet clam to actually socializing a lot.
Yeah.
When I
and your social. So your social skills change, but your initial social skills that you carry with you all throughout high school, all throughout your elementary school and middle school, you learn that at home, man. That's why everyone's characteristics and social skills are different. What somebody thinks is socially acceptable to their, might be socially acceptable to their family, but what it's socially acceptable to you is you think it's rude or off-putting. And me knowing Will's family is a very quiet to themselves family. So it's your social skills will change, yes, and evolve, but a majority of what you learn social skills wise is from your family.
Hey, Will, are you laying on the floor, or do y'all have wood paneling on the wall? Because I have questions about both. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, okay. I was going to say, bro, just turn off the MCR and put down the mascara.
You're not my dad.
It's going to be okay.
Not a phase, Dad.
Boots doesn't even know his, bro. Don't tell him. Don't talk
Do you guys
to him
think
like that.
teachers are underpaid?
Yes.
I'd say so. Yeah.
You guys know what the average?
Yeah.
You guys know what the average salary is for teachers?
No.
Drastically so. Yeah. It's like mid 40s, I want to say.
Depending
It's
on
like $40,000 a
state,
year.
a lot of them are like
62,000 is
now.
the median across the country. With
Fuck
New York, California, Massachusetts,
yeah.
New Jersey,
I mean,
Connecticut
you
being
probably
the
have
highest
some.
paid.
My next
New
question
York
is,
being at 88,000.
how does that compare to daycare workers?
Daycare workers are paid significantly less.
Really?
That's the median, but what's the mode?
I mean,
Look at
I'm proud that you know that.
look at Jeremy
It
using
seems
that
like
public.
there's going to be some
okay.
Public
No, here it is. So
curve killers towards
you're-
the top or bottom.
the lowest 25% in the country is paid 49,000. The highest 25% is 81,000. So 62 is right. Yeah,
So
60,
probably about
62 is
60,
right
yeah.
there in the middle, the median. No, but you know what they don't take
fair
into
enough.
account
I was just
into
curious, I was just curious.
that income is how much teachers have to fork out throughout the school year in school supplies that they shouldn't even have to be supplying. Paper, pencils.
Not getting paid during the summer.
They should just charge the kids like a class fee for that, shouldn't they?
I mean, it's which this
Not what your Kleenex aren't cutting it, Timmy. Okay, your mom needs to bring in 2 rings of paper.
I feel like that's that the school supplies are something that should 100% be covered by the schools and not the teachers.
Agreed.
And then same thing with any kind of furthering education or training that teachers are required. I don't believe they should have to pay for that out of pocket either.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on technology within school? Because right as I was leaving high school, like they started handing out iPads and all that kind of stuff.
It's good.
It's useful, and they're adapting.
Bro, my son was in 2nd grade. He had a fucking tablet or an iPad that he had to take home every day.
It's good
and
because
had
that's
to do
that's
his,
the way
like,
that our
certain work
that
on
our
it
society
every
is
night.
moving as a whole, is into a more dude, I don't even me in college, dude, I keep paper and pencil, one notepad and pencil and pen in my backpack. I don't use it, dude. iPad. Yeah. iPad and I
This
got
is
an
my
Apple
pencil
Pencil,
and
bro, and that's
pen
what I
to
take
take
notes
notes.
with in
Yep,
class.
right here.
You know what I'm saying? I can count on one hand how many pieces of paper I've ripped out, and it's usually to kind of write something down real quick in a group setting.
I think it also helps teach like responsibility because you're now having to ensure that stays working and not broken.
That's your first signed hand receipt, bro.
Hey, tell my daughter that, bro.
Yeah, no, like I said,
Dude, I think Aurora has a graveyard of tablets. Like an entire graveyard full of fucking tablets.
I think it's
over the
good
years,
for schools to use them, and it helps them, become more technologically savvy, so to say. Because for the longest time, I was a complete caveman when it came to computers. I mean,
You're still a caveman. Just maybe
I still am. It's just I've learned significantly more over the past 2-3 years.
A caveman with a comb and an iPad.
Than I ever have. But when I was going through high school, we were still writing our essays on paper, turning in handwritten essays.
Same.
Yes.
Like kites? Wrong essay. Never mind.
So I don't know, man, but different times, and we didn't have computers at the time. What?
Somebody's got a bag of
Yeah.
chips over there.
Why is that so funny?
Man's got to eat.
Why is that so funny?
The fuck's so goddamn funny, bro?
Whenever we don't have our notorious always eating on stream buddy Ray on, we've got Jeremy eating instead.
We also got you telling us stupid statements like that.
Bro, everyone on camera can see that he grabbed a bag of chips. Do you want to narrate the rest of the podcast?
And then Will looks onto the camera. glaringly with his oversized spectacles.
It's a hypothetical, bro.
So what can...
Bro, the only way this would make it worse is if I did like you guys, with your fucking robot cocks.
So what can we do to better this education
I
system?
hit y'all with a couple of them.
Stop punishing free thinking.
Take responsibility. Take responsibility for your own kids' upbringing. Accept the fact that public schools are only going to teach them the absolute barest of fucking minimums. And if you want your kid to have some kind of goddamn sense to them about the world, you teach it to them. If they exhibit certain skills in a certain section and you want to help them develop that, you fucking do that, dude. Don't put that
I can
responsibility
agree there.
back
What
on
were you
the
going to say,
school.
Boots? About what? Don't what?
I was saying stop punishing free thinking and just rewarding obedience all on the same motion.
How do you... How,
Because the current school system we have now is based on like the
do you realize
industrial
what you
age.
just said is a complete oxymoron? Free thinking...
We're punishing free thinking and rewarding
Yeah, and you said
obedience.
figure out how to do both of them. How do you punish free thinking?
No, stop punishing free. I'm saying you stop punishing free thinking, and to stop rewarding obedience as like this sole factor, and that and standardized testing are paramount.
So
Because you can either file in line
out
or
the
you
door
can
with
come up with your
obedience?
own ideas.
So
I wouldn't
so
say
it's
that, but I wouldn't say we're
it's
gonna.
a pendulum.
I would say we stop putting it on a pedestal and basically slapping people in the pee-pee for thinking for themselves. Hey, I have an idea. No, that's not in the curriculum.
Yeah, but you also have the option
Obey.
to go do
Do what I
that on
say.
your own. Like,
Right. You
Right
can.
on.
Nobody is stopping you
What the
from
hell,
free
the walk
thinking.
on
As
the
soon as you
pee-pee?
leave class, you could have your. You know what I'm saying? You're there for a purpose. That's your job, and that's your purpose is to learn.
Will
Is
looks
to
like
learn,
he's using
whatever-
his library card.
You'd be the
whatever
only one
subject
who
you're
would
in.
like
If you're there
that.
for math, you're there for math, and that is your duty for that hour. Why are you free thinking about whatever you're free thinking about?
Say if it's an English class, and you just read good old Count of Monte Cristo, which just about any thought that can be had about that book has been thought at this point. It's been overanalyzed so much, but no one in that class had thought of it. And sure, you had your little discussions about it and everything, but you like, hey, I wonder if this is what they meant by this, and then you try to twist the whole class into this deeper thinking, this literary analysis, just to get them to
You
get their
can
brains
do
kicking
that.
a little bit more, because yours was.
That happens all the time.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
There are
that
teachers
happens
who will
all the time.
absolutely just say, no, shut up.
I think that's that's based on your experience.
Yeah,
I
I can't
think
ever say that
across
I've
the board
experienced
that's
something
the
like that.
case.
If I've ever been like, hey, I think this symbolizes this, the teacher's never just been like, no, it doesn't. What? No.
most of the time for literary analysis, like they're just trying to make sure your grammar's right.
Well, I think
Yeah, literary
I don't
analysis
think-
is literally, what you had said
Yeah.
is literally a free thinking assignment.
dude, you got to understand the type of like aptitude it takes to be a teacher. If there is a good, healthy discussion going on in class, they would fucking talk to their friends about it after work, about how awesome it was because they got their students to actually just have a fucking conversation about
Right. Like, I'm
whatever the curriculum was.
not
whether
sure
it was
what kind of
testable or not.
militaristic school you went to, but
You know what I mean?
a lot of the schools that I went to, and I went to a lot of schools, and even homeschooling, all promoted free thinking.
I was gonna say, we literally, my sophomore year of
Maybe
high
just
school,
a
we
student
had a whole assignment that took the whole year on who we thought the greatest man or greatest person in the world was. You know, whatever their actions. You can pick whoever the fuck you want. It could be Mickey Mouse, but you better be able to write a 12-page essay on it. No, I picked Henry
You picked
Ford.
Mickey
so
Mouse,
fuck
didn't
you.
you?
Also, the man complaining about free thinking was just saying just the other day, I think he said something along the terms of, I'm not creative, so I don't know how to do that.
Oh.
I'm saying leave room for free thinking, not making it a requirement to succeed. Like, hey, you have to come up with something on
Well,
your
now
own
you're
on
just
the
changing
fly.
So
your
now
right
answer.
you're
now.
opposing. So you're opposing what you just said?
Right.
No, I'm saying leave the option open.
You can't.
You're making it black and white, and
do
it's
that,
not
though,
the case.
You can't. You can't leave the option open of free thinking, and then everything else has to be by the books.
I'm saying you have room for free thinking. You just also have a baseline to fall back
So
on
what you're
when no.
So now what you're saying
creative
is there needs to
thoughts are
be
in
more
the air.
obedience. I mean,
God.
I'm trying to. Is that Jeremy? Is that what are you hearing, Jeremy?
Basically, I'm saying, even if you haven't.
What are you hearing?
You have I think I understand what Boots is trying to say, but you have two such contradictory ideas that you can't. They don't blend that easy. for a
Obedience
reason.
is literally the
And you
exact
can't have
opposite
it all
of
one
free
way or the
thinking.
other.
I understand that, and that's what I was saying. We are doing a lot of. Well, you may not have personally seen it, but I have, where they will punish free thinking and reward obedience. Hey, this guy can stick to the curriculum. He shuts the fuck up. He listens to the lectures. He doesn't think for himself. Reward that.
I mean,
The whole planet
he's
does
not
that.
wrong. I mean, jobs, everything.
Don't even go that far. Watch Discovery Channel for a little while, man. Obedience is survival. It's you know what I mean, like. But you're right. This is our school system is still operating under a very post-industrial era mentality. It's only as of this generation that you can be a millionaire sitting in your fucking extra bedroom eating barbecue chips with a bunch of ring lights and make a wealthy living. In which obedience to the system, to the blueprint, is null and void. Yeah. So I think that's a tough thing to argue, especially with such contradictory ideas.
Have we talked about learning disabilities at all? Those got brought up.
I think well, you've been talking with a learning disability.
Go on, Boots. What? Let's hear your contradictory statements on learning disabilities.
No. I don't have like a strong
Go
point
on.
on it. I was just asking if it had been brought up.
What? Go ahead.
I don't have a point. I was asking if you guys
have an
did. I
opinion
couldn't
if you brought
remember.
up the subject. You wouldn't have just brought it up out of your ass. So go on. What's your opinion?
I had a little note here for this would be a good talking point, but I have
we need
nothing under
context.
it.
What about
Like I
learning
don't know what
disabilities?
you want me to do there. I don't know. Do you think they get ignored? Do you think they're
legal-
properly addressed?
No, but-
like,
Come on.
Aren't you legally
But I don't
binded
think
to
I don't
help-
think that.
Sorry, go ahead, Rodney.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with education. I think that has more so to do with a failed healthcare system, which we can discuss at another point if you guys really wanted to. But you know, the whole, yeah, I think that has a lot to do with the whole pharmaceutical, you know, and let's just pump them full of medicine and claim them as cured and push them through the school system. But that has nothing to do with the schools. because, other more serious learning disabilities are taken serious. I mean, I have a son with a learning disability. You know what I'm saying? And as far as my experience is, he's been treated very well in his schools and stuff like that.
I think that there's a whole team of people, a whole team of professionals within public school systems, generally speaking, that are there for that very reason. Um, that being said, depending on the task, half of your class has a learning disability. Everybody learns information completely different. And it isn't, I'm a hands on learner because you just don't want to have to fucking read and do the due diligence. Or I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a this, or whatever. The teachers are having to deal with 10 different learning types in every classroom every fucking year. And so I think if there's a grand takeaway from that and really everything that we've said is that there isn't ever going to be a one size fits all solution to education. And it won't be until they change the goal of the education system, which I think we can all agree right now is pipeline them into a college.
Did you just contradict an earlier statement?
Or pipeline. What? Sorry, go ahead.
Pretty sure you just said that there's not going to be a standardized way to teach people after saying we need standardization.
No, I said that there isn't a one size fits all that's gonna help everybody. Because if you just plop it in the middle, you're gonna have kids on this end of the spectrum that won't make it, and you'll have kids on this end of the spectrum that aren't challenged.
So which ones do you cater to?
Do all the things that basically the four of us did going through school. The bottom, which is what they're doing.
Which leaves and promotes free thinking for the ones at the top, right or wrong.
I don't know, man. I was bored as shit. Like, I hated school because it wasn't like, I don't know, man. And I'm a test taker, and all of public schools is basically built around your ability to sit down and knock out a test. I can fucking do that. So school was dog shit boring for me. I had mid grades because I aced. Yeah, exactly. And I see out because I could ace the test.
Or I would do it and just not turn it in because I don't care that much.
Because eat my ass.
I actually had a teacher who took a highlighter and just put a straight line down the homework block in her little grade book for me because she knew good and well I wasn't going to do it.
That's a very lovely story, Boots. This man's just full of stories today.
I don't know if I entirely believe that. God damn it, Boots.
He's already told us like 3.
A good
Tell us
story?
a good Boots story.
He doesn't have any of those.
No, I said a good Boots story.
Yeah, I never said any of them were good. Like, what do you want?
No, it's yeah, it's just there. I don't until we change what the goal of public school is.
What should the goal?
There's never going to be systemic changes. As it it depends on who stands to benefit. Right, the people that make the system don't benefit.
I mean,
if we're just an extra smart public.
Because that as those students become adults, like it turns around into the economy. Sure, they don't benefit directly right away, but I just don't think they.
Yes, but then
go ahead.
On the other end of the spectrum, which they care, politicians will say, we'll go ahead and assume that's what he meant as politicians, those that sit at the top. on the other end of the spectrum is they care a little bit less about the economy than they do about people who vote for them. And generally speaking, they want less educated people because they know they aren't going to go look into their background. They know they're not going to do the research that they need to, put down their proper vote. So generally speaking, a less educated population is more or less, they don't know, the ways to get them out of office. They don't know this, they don't know that.
Bro, 5 minutes on TikTok and you'll find those people that like interview.
What's the capital of the United
public,
States?
And it's they ask them
Alaska.
The most.
Here's a picture of Abraham Lincoln. Who's this?
Bro, Tennessee, like the. You might think, okay, well, probably this is probably staged to some degree or whatever, but.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we have a smarter public, then
God, there's some really
not only will
dumb
we not
fucking
look like
people out
idiots,
here.
but
And
it'll turn
my
around
mom
into the
always
economy.
told
They
me-
couldn't afford it.
That's all I'm saying.
But yeah,
It'll all balance out. They're never going to.
Oh, no, I'm not
people
saying
who are
that that's
here
what they're doing
that
now.
make the decisions aren't going to build a system that
I'm just
they
saying that's how it should be,
lose.
is that we have a public that's actually smarter than what we have now. Because you made a statement saying like, oh, yeah, well, what you just have a smarter public. I'm just saying that there is something on the other side of that.
Well, yeah, of course.
so Boots, besides allowing you to do whatever you want in class, what are some other?
Jesus Christ.
What are some other things we can do to better
I
the
want
education?
chocolate milk in the water
So-
fountains. Vote me, student council president.
Give a little more credit to trades. Quit this fucking the college board sponsored. Gotta go to a university. Everyone apply to UGA and Stanford. No, most of you fuckers aren't getting in anyway. Be realistic. Stop shooting for the stars. Like, think a little bit. Think a little bit. With
Yeah,
the
don't be a
last bit of that,
pretender.
So,
A little
so
bit. We're gonna regulate your fucking. You're allowed to think.
So
as
what I'm
long as
hearing
you're
is-
fucking within our
is we need to
parameters.
promote free thinking.
Obedient.
However, comma
Think
pause for
obediently.
effect. You're too dumb to free think, so you go do this.
No, I'm saying afford these options, not push everyone to shoot for the
Right.
hardest college they can possibly get into.
But that's, I mean,
If that's what they want to do, then let them.
right? Like,
That's on them. It's
With
every man
no
for
backup
himself,
plan?
bruh.
Hey, little teamy, I know you're getting like you've got like a
Who's-
1.9 average.
Bro, it's like you wrote a whole story in your head, and we're only getting little pieces as we go. You've presented a very weird hypothetical situation of a no-win.
We use Will.
That's
Will,
not
for the sake of the story, you're a moron.
That makes it factual.
Okay?
You're gonna spit
all right,
in his
carry
ass.
carry on.
Fuck.
And you've discovered
sandwich
at
out
a
of
really
your
young
ass.
age that, hey, I'm pretty good at this whole like electrical thing. I'm kind of cool at this. But there's no electrical programs at your school. They're like, oh no, college is the life. You got to go to college, and you should go ahead and apply to fucking Harvard. Go apply to Harvard.
But
I don't
doesn't
care
that
what
wasn't the
program. Just
case.
get into Harvard. That's the way. You go, you apply, you abandon your whole electrician route that you could have gone to, and because no one,
right.
And now he's a double E making 180 grand a year.
No,
Yeah,
wait.
Because he's got a
I mean,
Harvard
look.
fucking undergrad, and now he's an electrical engineer making 180
No.
grand. What the fuck
Remember,
is
for
he
the sake
thinking?
of the story, he's a moron.
Obedience, motherfucker.
He
Hold on.
doesn't get into Harvard. He didn't have a backup plan. He abandoned that
moron
whole
by whose standards?
electrician route 2 years ago.
By whose standards? By the schooling system standards that we've already established
Thank you.
as
I was
dog
getting there.
shit, or
He sucks at dealing with
Just
people.
at me, dude.
He can't read very well. He's not good at many things in life except I make wires do the thing.
And you don't even have to
Well,
go to a trade school
you're-
to be an
I'm aware of
so
that.
you're
I'm aware, but they don't.
I-
they don't
I feel like you're-
often
no
present
education.
that
I
option.
feel like you're taking the fucking bottom 0.0001% of people who graduate high school that just get shoved through the fucking system, and you're making a huge example out of that.
So my problem.
Remember
with this
where I
is
came
you act
from.
like
It wasn't
just
a
because they don't have a
0.001%.
backup plan, doesn't like they're never going to have a backup plan then.
Bro, the thing of it is like a
It's that
fucking
same-
moron can get into Harvard, bro. It's not a hard school to get into. If you have money, you can go wherever the fuck you want. It's
and work ethic. Because that's what your grades are, man. Your grades are alpha.
someone like you and I were, we could do our assignments real quick and be done with it.
Not how much you know the information.
You know, that doesn't make us any smarter than Joe Bob, who needs to take all week to do his essay. That doesn't make you any smarter.
What happens when you get into calculus, though? And there's not everyone's
What
gonna
happens
be
when
able
you
to
get
do
it?
that.
What happens when you're fucking studying
easy
rocket
for us.
science engineering?
Calculus is easy.
I mean, you're taking the bottom
Calculus is my
0.001%
favorite class.
and pitting them in
Not
something
everyone's
that's
gonna
way
get it.
up here that not a whole lot of people in college take, bro. Calculus isn't a very, like, you get what I'm getting at though. Like,
Right?
it's
What
not.
if your aunt had a dick? It'd be your uncle.
It's not how
What does
fast
that-
you can
what
do
does
your
that mean?
work.
All of that convoluted story was to basically say, what if someone's got skills? The school has no support or even, hey, this is an option for.
That's
and
not
they're
their
just shoving
responsibility.
college.
That's not their responsibility, bro.
Apply
That's your
to
parents'
most
responsibility.
prestigious college.
Their responsibility is to push school because that's what they are, a school. So they're going to push furthering education. It's your parents' responsibility to say, hey, look, bud, you really love electrical. Hey,
Boom.
here's some good technical colleges in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hey, go work with them between
Or-
your junior and summer or senior
Hey,
year
man, I got a
over
buddy.
summer.
Maybe you can shadow
And see
him
if
for
you
the
like
day,
it.
and you
Like
can run a
that's,
few
you know what I'm
jobs
saying? That's
with
your
him.
parents' responsibility. That's not the school's responsibility to be like, listen, buddy, I know you're a C average student, but here's this option.
All I'm going to say is, in my experience,
Because if they
I've
would've-
never had a school like necessarily push towards a particular college or anything like that. Sure, they're like, yeah,
Right?
you
They
should
just
probably
said
go to college.
further your education.
Yeah. But it's never like, oh, you should go
But,
to
like-
Harvard. Bro, no. They just want you to go to fucking school.
Oh,
They
mine
don't give a
did.
shit.
I had a CD average. I was that student that was dumb because of my grades. Would you consider me dumb, Boots?
Not most days.
You have your days, right?
It depends, right?
Maybe that one.
No, I mean we could sit here. And we can talk about how to run through a trauma patient as they blast through the fucking double doors. And I promise you, one
I
out
got
of the
you.
four of us is going to perform well. Or we could talk about fucking, you know what I mean? Like a completely different. We could talk about fucking website building.
Yeah.
Maybe. How fresh are you? You know what I mean? That shit goes out of your head fast. But anyway, I digress. It was just an example. Like we could talk about our webpage that us as a group are trying to put together. But who's really putting in the legwork and who's going? You know what I mean? Like, it just depends. Intelligence is relative.
I'll be the first to admit, bro.
I think
I don't know
intelligence
shit
is
about
not how
website
much
building.
information
Like, I don't know shit
it's
about
how
IT
you process
stuff.
it.
Like we had
How you
discussed, I
learn
was a
it, and how you
caveman
deal
until
with it.
2 to 3 years ago when I actually needed to start using computers.
I am really glad that we don't
Why, you
have to
wouldn't have done the
use,
work
like, do
anyway?
this all manually with HTML.
Yeah,
By the way,
And I don't know what that means.
yeah, I would have
That
figured it out
sounds
if I
like
needed to.
a
You know
ham
what I'm
and
saying?
turkey
And that's
melt
work
sandwich.
ethic.
I don't know what HTML is. So you see where we're at
Am I
with this?
dumb because I don't know what HTML is? Yeah, no.
That's literally that literally sums up my entire like stance on all of this.
Or we could use some of that
all
free
of this
thinking
right
he
here.
was talking about.
so our best solution to
But
education
that's
is
taught at
to
home. It's not taught in school.
whatever will. The biggest fix to the education system
Depend
is
on
actually
it
just
less.
like
Oh,
teaching
what?
people how to be better parents.
You can't teach someone to be a better parent. It's a very look, man. There's two of us here who are parents and who have been parents for quite some time, and it's a natural skill, bro. Like you're not going to teach someone how to be a parent, bro. Like it's just a natural thing when you especially like the first time you're having a kid, dude. It's like, shit, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do this. I've never been a dad before. Nobody held my hand and been like, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. It's just a natural skill.
And if they do, most of them it's relative, man. You take out the information you need,
So
and then you
unfortunately,
apply it to your life, just like every fucking thing
Okay,
else
so
you've ever received information-wise into your noodle. Chew it up, digest what you need, and spit out the rest. Because how my mom raised me and how I was as a baby is not how my daughter is, and not how her kids will be either. So
if we're
it's
trying to
all
fix the
relative,
education
man. It's
system,
all
and the important things are going to be taught at home, actually. What do you do when you encounter a
Well, you're
little
back
Timmy
at it
here
again,
whose
picking like
parents are just fucking shit
the
people,
crazy scenarios.
or they're shit people?
That's why the system caters to the bottom for situations like that.
There's a lot of resources out there
And
for
it
people
does.
like
and I
that.
mean, and it sounds like
Whether
shit
it gets taken
because.
advantage of or not is.
But how else would you have it?
For people that can't afford their technology fees, their school fees, whatnot.
There's support out there for people like that, though. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like it's. Like I said, whether it gets taken advantage of or not is up in the air or whatnot, but there is support and help for stuff like that.
That's fair.
Yeah, well, did a whole lot of talking in circles. We still haven't come up with a solution to the education system.
Everybody get everything off their chest
we are
today.
all dumber because of it. Well, what was it that was said in Billy Madison? We are all now dumber. Having listened to you, I award you 0 points and may have God have mercy on your soul. That is probably how people feel about after listening to this podcast. But yeah, we discussed what we
every week.
what we felt like it. Boots says there needs to be more authority and more free thinking all at the same time.
Yep.
I think Jeremy and I are on the same page where it starts
and
at home.
Will is still waiting in line to get his library card.
It starts at home. With that being said,
teachers should get paid more.
Teachers should get paid more. Don't let anybody tell you can't do something. Just because Boots says you can't do it doesn't mean you can't do it. Boots has a hard time wiping his own ass.
Boots.
It's hard, man. I'm not
later, y'all. We'll see you next week.